The last thing I wanted to discuss and was this headline I saw on comicbook.com, which is the Disney bosses still haven't thought about Frozen 3. Frozen 2 director Mark Smith hasn't even begun to think about Frozen 3. The last installment was another gigantic success for Disney, and it would make sense to wonder when the next trip to Arendelle will be. Well, according to the director, you could be waiting a little while. Disney just put out Frozen 2 Into the Unknown on Disney Plus. That documentary sheds a spotlight on the creation of the second movie, and there's a ton of good content in there. Collider spoke to Smith about if there were any discussions about Frozen 3 yet, and that's a long way out. So basically, they're not thinking about Frozen 3 yet, which means they haven't gotten to the end of fully exploiting their success with Frozen 2 yet. Because believe me, there's a lot of ways. They got toys, they got shorts, and all kind of things they can do with Frozen 2. Here's my thing. I have plenty of ideas. If y'all want to copy me, go right ahead, Disney. Here's what I propose with Frozen 3. Just a few ideas. First of all, one of the things I'm kind of annoyed. I was kind of annoyed with Frozen 2 was the fact that Anna is so freaking obsessed with Elsa. And I felt like now that she's a queen at the end of Frozen 2, I feel like the natural thing would be for Anna and Elsa to come in some kind of conflict. Now that I think they're both respective queens. I think Elsa is queen of North Ultra, if I'm not mistaken, and Anna's of course queen of Arendelle. So my thought would be that there would have to be some kind of conflict between them, and maybe the two sides would have to go to war or something. Maybe that would be too violent for a kids movie, or something along the lines of Anna discovers that she also has powers, but her powers are based in fire, which is a direct conflict with Elsa. And because of that, they fight, and maybe Anna has a Dark Phoenix moment. And if you know what I'm talking about, if you're a Marvel fan, Dark Phoenix was, of course, what happened to Jean Grey of X-Men. Her powers kind of overwhelmed her, and she had to be put down by the other X-Men. So and since they're already promoting a power that one of the X-Men has, I'm sure they stole a little bit from Marvel in creating Elsa. So my thought is, because let's face it, Elsa is a freaking mutant when it really comes down to it. So my thought is, make both of them mutants. Anna's powers just manifested later in her life, and like I said, she becomes so powerful that she has to fight Elsa at some point because her power is threatening the kingdom. Or they could go on an adventure together. We have to bring them together in some way, right? That's naturally what has been done in all the movies. This conflict between sisters and wanting to help each other out. Or in the case of the first movie, Elsa wanting to isolate herself and Anna wanting to bring her back. So my thought is maybe they find out that their parents didn't actually die in the shipwreck. They're actually being held somewhere by, I don't know, some crazy person in another kingdom. I'm not sure why they would have been kidnapped, but it would be interesting if this enemy, whoever they are, had powers of their own. And again, because Elsa's so overpowered now, you need to counteract that by introducing somebody else with powers. Elsa and Anna have not only do they have to travel to somewhere in Atahalan, somewhere near Atahalan, because that's where their parents were headed, right? So, My thought would be they have to travel to some other land near Ata Holland where they find out their parents are being held and have to free them from the clutches of this evil person in this neighboring kingdom. Maybe it's another king in a neighboring kingdom. Who knows? The possibilities are endless, though. They have a great thing going with the powers, though. They did the whole power thing with Tangled. And I felt like, in a lot of ways, Tangled was a prototype movie that led to Frozen. But they had a lot of similarities. Both protagonists, both Elsa and Rapunzel, had powers. Rapunzel, of course, could heal people with her hair. She could lengthen your life with her hair, the powers in her hair. So I thought that was always interesting. And of course, we know that Rapunzel is probably like a cousin. I think that was one of the behind the scene things that we discovered. They even had Rapunzel appearing in one of the during the I think coronation of Elsa in the first Frozen movie. So yeah, there's connections there, but this whole magical thing could be something that clearly could be continued. Maybe Elsa's mother has powers too. Maybe that's why they were captured, and maybe it's their power. Her powers are being exploited by this maniac king in another kingdom or something like that. Something along those lines. But the possibilities are endless, and it would make for great toys too. So, but my point here is that they really need to focus on the villain of the next movie. Because if you think about it, there really wasn't a villain in the second movie. Not really. There was obviously some villains in the first movie, but the second movie, we need a solid villain. We need somebody that can face off with Elsa. And some super powered throwdown. We need a great super powered throwdown. Sort of what Elsa did in the second movie. But she was fighting the wind spirit and the water spirit. That battle she had with the horse was really badass. We should see more of that stuff like that.